This is CBS 6 News in high definition.
They came, they protested, they got arrested, and now a year later they're at it again. We'll mark the anniversary of the Occupy movement with a look at the rallies all over the country. Plus, a Stewart's employee on his way to work sees something that causes him to stop and knock on a stranger's door, and now he's being called a hero. And pro basketball star Jimmer Fredette is back home in Glens Falls today, signing copies of his new book about his life. We're there live. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Liz Bishop. The protests are back, and so are the arrests. It was 1 year ago today that demonstrators launched a worldwide movement protesting what they called economic inequality. And as Randall Pinkston tells us now, rallies are planned throughout the world today, and several people have already been arrested.
Police are arresting Occupy Wall Street demonstrators for blocking sidewalks near the New York Stock Exchange. On the one-year anniversary of the grassroots movement, organizers plan civil disobedience protests all day in the city where the Occupy demonstrations began. The group is calling for an end to corporate greed and economic inequality.
And the more people that come out, the more it'll be recognized and things will change.
The goal of today's demonstration is to shut down the financial district, but New York City police are out in force and don't intend to let that happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep moving.
Critics of the Occupy movement say the group lacks focus and organization. Some say they are protesting everything wrong with the world. A year ago today, demonstrators began occupying Zuccotti Park in Lower Manhattan, sleeping in tents and vowing to stay indefinitely. The movement grew as protests spread to other cities and overseas. Encampments sprang up across the country, but authorities eventually moved in and shut them all down. Without the tent cities, many believed the group would dissolve, but 1 year later, Occupy Wall Street demonstrators claim their movement is still strong. Randall, Pinkston, CBS News, New York.
And it was October 20th, 2011 that Occupy Albany was born. The group doesn't have anything planned to mark this one-year anniversary of the main Occupy movement. We'll have an update on the upstate movement coming up later on CBS 6 News. There is some breaking news this noontime involving the anti-American protests in the Muslim world that are now in their 7th day. A witness says U.S. Ambassador Chris Stevens was still breathing as people pulled him from a room after last week's attack on the American consulate in the Libyan city of Benghazi. Fahd el-Bakoush says that he was present when a crowd pulled Stevens out of the room inside the consulate where someone stumbled across him thinking that he was dead. He says Stevens' face was blackened and he seemed paralyzed, but he was still breathing. El-Bakoush says that the crowd carried Stevens to a private car and drove him to the hospital. And Hezbollah's leader made a rare public appearance at a rally in Beirut today, denouncing the anti-Islam film. Hassan Nasrallah says he does not usually appear in public for fear of assassination, but he did call for today's protests in Beirut, saying that the U.S. must be held accountable for the film that's at the heart of all this because it was produced in America. Senator Chuck Schumer is weighing in on the violence in the Middle East. Schumer saying that the U.S. is not going to just get over the death of Chris Stevens, the U.S. ambassador to Libya, and the 3 other diplomatic workers who also died, or the handling of the attack on the embassy. He says one thing we have to do is to make certain that the new president of Egypt, Mohamed Morsi, understands that, quote, we mean business.
His initial statements when the embassy was stormed, and the fact that the police in Egypt did not defend our embassy is disgraceful. Now, I'm glad that the president had tough words with him on the phone, but we have to watch President Morsi like a hawk.
Schumer added that Egypt should not receive any U.S. aid if it continues to show the kind of behavior that we've seen over the last month. Well, back here at home, a Gloversville man is heading to prison for his role in a crash that killed a person and seriously injured another. Justin Van Nostrand will be sentenced in just a little over an hour from now in Fulton County Court. He entered a guilty plea to charges of manslaughter and reckless endangerment back in June. Van Nostrand was behind the wheel of a car back in December that ran off Route 29 in Johnstown, hitting an embankment, then a parked truck before crashing into a house. 19-year-old Christopher Insonia was killed and his sister Kelsey was badly hurt. Van Nostrand will get 2 1/3 to 7 years behind bars for each count, which will be served concurrently. A Cairo man is arrested for forcible touching and unlawful imprisonment. State police say a 31-year-old female filed a complaint of unwanted sexual contact by someone in Cairo but didn't give a name. Police say an investigation led to the arrest of 27-year-old James Stapchuk. He was processed and released to appear in court at a later date. And a mystery continues for police in Queens. They got a report that a car had crashed into a vacant building on Route 143 around 7:30 Sunday morning. Well, when police got there, they could not find a victim, but there was blood in the vehicle, which made them think that someone had been badly injured. A check of area hospitals and urgent care facilities, though, has turned up no one. And a search by bloodhounds on the ground and troopers in the air produced nothing. Police did talk to the owner of the SUV, who claimed that he was not operating it at the time. And another heartwarming story about a Good Samaritan taking action. The Saratoga County Sheriff's Office says a Stewart's employee was driving down Route 67 in Malta just after 4 this morning when he noticed fire coming from the attached garage at number 467. Well, he ran to the front door and woke up the family, who was able to get out safely. What caused the fire isn't known at this time, but there is fire, smoke, and water damage to the house, and 2 cars in the garage were totaled. Well, if you want to get outside this week, today is your day to do it. Meteorologist Nick Johnston here now with a first look at your forecast. Pretty nice out there, Nick, but we're getting used to that these days.
Yeah, Liz, it seems like we've had a lot of pretty pleasant weather to get outside recently. Today is another one. But if you do want to get outside, as you mentioned, make today the day to do it, because tomorrow it's going to be a lot wetter, and it's also going to be turning windy, so not exactly a great day to get outside tomorrow. More clouds will build into the area late in the day, but right now we are still seeing plenty of sunshine. Temperatures are going to be nice this afternoon, mid-70s, maybe even the upper 70s in parts of the region. Now here's the setup that's going to give us a big change in the weather for tomorrow. We're dragging a lot of moisture out of the Gulf, and this storm system here is going to swing through, bringing a cold front with it. That's going to translate into the chance for some periods of heavy rain tomorrow into tomorrow night. Meanwhile, tonight, we'll see clouds increase. There could be a couple of showers by dawn, and temperatures overnight will stay fairly mild. I'll have much more on those rain chances in just a few minutes.
Fair enough. Thank you, Nick. Glens Falls grad Jimmer Fredette of the Sacramento Kings and the NBA is back home today. He's meeting with friends and fans right now at the Glens Falls Civic Center, which was the scene of many of his high school exploits as a basketball player there. And Jerry Gretzinger joins us live now from the Civic Center. What's with this visit, Jerry? I know he wrote that book, and I assume everybody in Glens Falls knows his story about his life, but it's a good one.
You know what, Liz, that's what it's all about today. It's about that book coming out, but not just that. He had a special surprise for the folks from Glens Falls High School. I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, the book is about himself and his family and something called The Contract. That's the name of the book. It's a biography that was written by an author, all about Jimmer Fredette and what led him to his success, making it into the NBA now with the Sacramento Kings. And I just spoke with Jimmer a few minutes ago. We'll have that interview coming up tonight starting at 5. But in that interview, he told me that The Contract was a little piece of paper that he and his older brother had put together one night, talking about how he was going to make all the necessary sacrifices and do the work that he needed to do to get him his dream to come true, which was to play in the NBA someday. And in that book, there's actually a copy of that contract. And he talked to me about how every single day he woke up, he pinned that right over his bed, and every morning he'd wake up and see this piece of paper reminding him that he was going to make the sacrifices, do the work to make it successful in the NBA. And he said it made him get motivated every day to do what he had to do. And certainly, as we all know how that story played out, he is indeed in the NBA. He also was here today to share his love for his high school sports team, the Glens Falls Indians. So today he actually donated brand new uniforms for the men's basketball team at Glens Falls. They unveiled those today. He also had a check for $40,000 for the men's basketball team. And he also brought shirts. He's donating shirts. It's Integrity Week here in Glens Falls School District. So every single student from kindergarten all the way through the senior year of high school, they're getting shirts from Jimmer Fredette. He is here now. He's signing copies of that book. Later on this afternoon, he moves to Colony Center at the Barnes & Noble, where he'll be signing more copies of that book. And I asked him one question. I said, Jimmer, if you could go back to the day when you were filling out that little paper contract with your brother, could you have ever imagined that you would get to this point where you were in the NBA, your book was coming out, you were donating thousands of dollars to your alma mater? And he says, you know what? I never, ever figured what would come from being in the NBA. He goes, I thought maybe someday I'd make it, but I couldn't have guessed this is what it would be like. And in that book, he gets into a little bit of what that's been like. There are pictures from his wedding and his wife and where he plans to go from here. So I would imagine this biography is part one of maybe what will end up being a series for the young 20-something. We're live in Glens Falls. More on Jimmer tonight. Jerry Gretzinger, CBS 6 News.
Well, you're feeling it every time you fill up. Gas prices showing no signs of slowing their upward climb, but there could be hope on the horizon. Plus, headed to court, Chicago's mayor making a bold move that he hopes will put teachers and students back in the classrooms more than a week into that history-making strike. And after some unexpected speed bumps, the presidential candidate's back on the campaign trail. You'll find out how a plane crash forced the Romney campaign to change their plans.
Closed captioning sponsored by Albany Medical Center, known for our expertise, chosen for our care.
Developing story right now, Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel is filing a lawsuit against the teachers union, claiming that their strike is illegal. Attorneys for the city are asking a judge to force the teachers to go back to work, which would end the week-long strike. Lawyers say this strike is illegal because it puts students' health and safety in danger. They also claim issues like evaluations, layoffs, and recall rights are not grounds for a work stoppage. Both sides had seemed close to a resolution this weekend, but then the union asked for more time at the last minute.
Clearly, a contract is always a set of negotiations. No sides are ever completely happy, but our members are not happy, and they want to have the opportunity to talk to their members to see. They still want to know, is there anything more they can get?
Students could return to the classroom as early as Monday if the teachers sign off on the latest proposal. President Obama and Republican presidential nominee Mitt Romney are back on the campaign trail today. A small plane crashed near the location of a rally in Colorado on Sunday that forced a change of plans for the Romney campaign. This week, the focus of the race is expected to turn back to the economy. Romney campaign officials say he'll talk with Hispanic business owners in Los Angeles this afternoon. The president is in Ohio, a key battleground state and one that depends heavily on the auto industry, which is also a hot topic today. The president is going after China over what the White House calls an unfair trade imbalance in the auto industry. White House officials say the country illegally subsidizes its car companies while imposing big taxes on cars imported from here in this country. The president is expected to launch a trade enforcement case against China later today. An announcement on that could come during his time in Ohio. It's a state, as we said, that relies heavily on the auto industry and is a big swing state in this year's election. Gas prices may be coming down soon. AAA says the average price of a gallon of regular is $3.87 nationwide, which is up 16 cents from a month ago. It's up 24 cents from a year ago. Prices are expected, though, to go down now that refineries have switched from a higher-priced summer blend to a less costly winter mix. That switch, by the way, happened just 2 days ago. All right, to Wall Street we go now. Let's see what's happening there on this Monday. The Dow is down right now, 25 points. The Nasdaq is losing 11, and the S&P 500 is dropping 2. Here's our local stock board. IBM, the only holdout there. First Niagara down 20 cents, GE off 11. Big Blue picking up 16 cents. TD Bank down 4 cents, and Verizon is dropping 2 pennies. And we are experiencing another really great day out there. Thank you, Nick.
Lovely weather we're having, isn't
Yeah.
it, Liz? Yeah, a great day to get outside today. And if you do have some things you want to take care of, any yard work, anything that needs cleaning up outside, you're going to want to do it today because tomorrow may not be as nice. I'll tell you exactly what to expect in just a few minutes.
Your CBS 6 Instant Doppler forecast with meteorologist Nick Johnston.
Well, we are looking at sunshine in downtown Albany. We saw plenty of that over the weekend as well, and we're starting this week on a very pleasant note, not just with the sun, but also our temperatures, a little bit above average today. 68's where we're at right now. We'll be at about 76 for a high temperature, and overnight lows staying pretty mild, remaining in the upper 50s to near 60 degrees overnight. But there are some big changes coming our way. I'll show you that in just a second. First, here's a look at the latest temperatures all around the region. It's 68 in Albany, 69 Poughkeepsie, 67 in North Adams, and 68 degrees at this hour in Bennington. Our temperatures still warming up steadily, though. We'll make it into the mid to possibly even the upper 70s in parts of the region this afternoon. We do still have clear skies across Albany, but that's going to start to change by the later part of the day as well. Clouds will be thickening up. Probably not until the later afternoon or early evening hours, though. And here's a look at why. There's this low pressure and cold front that are going to be headed our way as we get into the morning and afternoon of tomorrow. And it's going to bring with it a potential for some moderate to heavy rain. We're dragging a lot of moisture out of the Gulf, and with that frontal system coming through, that's going to translate to at least periods of moderate to heavy rain across the region tomorrow. Let me show you the timing now. This is noon, still looking at clear skies across our area. But we may be seeing a few more clouds building in the later part of the day. Still not likely to be raining at 10 o'clock tonight. In fact, most of the overnight will be staying dry. But by dawn, you might be seeing just a couple of showers working their way into the region. This is at 8 a.m. I think the heaviest rains will hold off until the afternoon, maybe the early evening hours. Look at this, another big band of rain coming through tomorrow night. This is at 10 o'clock. I think most of the area will get at least a little bit of that moderate to heavy rain. Some parts of the region could pick up over an inch of rain by the time it's all said and done. But it looks like most of that heavy stuff will clear out by Wednesday morning. And we'll be left with a few showers around the region Wednesday. Now, the other thing about Tuesday, it's going to be windy. So when we're getting those periods of rain, we'll also be seeing some pretty blustery winds. Tonight, 59 degrees overnight in Albany, 60 in Pinkston, 56 in Pittsfield. Normal overnight, about 51, so we'll be staying pretty mild tonight. Clouds will start to increase, particularly as we head towards dawn, and we will see that chance for a few isolated showers around the early morning, say around 8 or 9 a.m. 59 in Schenectady overnight, 60 in Hudson, 56 degrees in North Adams. Tomorrow, it's going to be mostly cloudy. It's going to be a little bit cooler, and there will be that wind to contend with as well. Winds will generally be out of the south at about 10 to 25 miles per hour during the day, increasing even a little bit. Tuesday night, winds could gust up around 40 miles per hour. 71 in Saratoga, 72 in Albany. Not necessarily going to be raining all day, but at least off and on there will be several rounds of rain likely. 72 Schenectady, 73 in Hudson. So here is a look at the next week ahead. 76 for today, windy on Tuesday, wet as well. Few leftover showers Wednesday, still a little bit of a breeze. Quiet Thursday, Friday. Fall officially starts on Saturday. Liz?
All right. Thank you very much, Nick. Well, you know, we all get attached to things, and that can make it tough when it's time to downsize. Tim Bartos, President and CEO of Baptist Health Nursing and Rehabilitation Center, here now with some tips on how to declutter our lives for the big move. Tim, take it away.
Liz, thank you. Small is good these days. The sizes of retirement housing and condos are shrinking. Awareness of energy costs have sparked an interest in smaller homes, leaving smaller carbon footprints and scaled down utility costs. Right-sizing means getting rid of stuff and changing your priorities and making yourself more important than your belongings.
All right, so how do you do it without getting overwhelmed?
That's the big question. You can't expect to squeeze the contents of a 3,000 square foot house into an 800 square foot condo. The big purge is the most daunting part of the right-sizing process. But if you break it down to, let's say, 20 minutes a day, where you focus on this, it can make it all more manageable. Remember, the goal is less stuff. Start one room at a time and start with the rooms you use the least. Ask yourself these questions. Do I still like it? Does it add value to my life? Will I use it regularly? And do I have the space for it?
All right, so if you need help getting started, what do you do?
Well, fortunately, help is available. Professional organizers and designers can help you decide what to keep and what to toss and how to maximize your new space with the things you can't live without. Imagine how great you'll feel when you are no longer tied down by clutter and possessions. eBay is a wonderful way to cash in on items you may not need anymore. And many not-for-profit organizations will gladly take your unused items and repurpose them for others who really need them.
All right, lots of good advice there. We'll have this on our website, and we appreciate your time today, Tim.
Thanks.
All right, and Mr. Food is coming up after the break.
No matter the size of our family, whether we've got kids or not, at the end of a busy day, comfort food is always welcome. And nothing is more comforting than good old mac and cheese. And this is one super supper that we can fix quick. Watch. In a soup pot, we brought a few cups of water to a boil, and along with a package of frozen mixed vegetables and the macaroni from a packaged macaroni and cheese kit. You know, setting the cheese mix aside. Now, once it comes to a boil, you loosely cover it, and after just about 5 minutes, we add in some milk, regular or low fat, some reduced fat shredded cheddar cheese, black pepper, and that reserved cheese packet. Now, you turn the heat to medium, you give it a good stir, and you let it simmer for about, 10 minutes until it's nice and creamy. That's it, done. No, if you want to use a different veggie, maybe go trendy and use edamame. Even hardy it up a bit more by throwing in some leftover cooked chicken or ham. Look, you know what they like. Make it your own way, and you're always right. It makes the ideal lunch take along in our thermos, too, but My favorite way to serve it is to ladle this one up for dinner along with some crusty bread to soak up every last drop of goodness. They are going to love it. Look, the recipe for my macaroni and cheese soup is online now, along with a few other of my favorite soup recipes, because nothing is more welcoming or comforting than sitting down to a feel-good meal that ends with an, ooh, it's so good.
Just talking about getting out and walking, which I've been doing a lot of in this beautiful weather. Tomorrow, maybe not so much.
Right. Well, if you want to get for a walk, try and get up early tomorrow. That'll be your best chance. But other than that, yeah, we'll see some rain and some winds. Later part of the week looks good, though, too.
All right, we'll get there then. Thank you, Nick, and thank you so much for being with us. Happy Monday, everyone. We'll see you later.